G'day fans and welcome back to what is the last episode of Talking Stuff for the entire year. And just to show you how well things are going as we go live right now, not a single person is watching us. So there you go. Absolute goose eggs. That goes to show you the quality of this program, Mr. Aron. How exciting is that? No one is watching us at all. Maybe they're doing something else today.
That maybe means we don't come back next year. But if we do come back next year, is it called Talking Stuff again or just more stuff?
More stuff. I mean, this is what we love. We love more stuff when we're talking stuff. And I tell you what, the thing we have to talk about today, the most important thing, this is probably why no one's joined in, is the fact that it's your birthday. Oh my God, the Aron has clocked up, I think you should be 51 today. Is that right? How exciting is this? Party, party, party. I was trying to find a Dalek-shaped cone hat to stick on your head there. But how have you celebrated the day, dude, with another ring around the trunk?
I didn't do anything. It's too busy. That's why I never celebrate my birthday. It's the busiest week of the year, so I didn't really do anything at all. Do you know what I did? I celebrated by not answering any of the messages I got today wishing me a happy birthday. How's that?
Very cool. Look at it. Everybody's going saying happy birthday, happy birthday. Yeah, no worries. You know what the funny thing is? If this is actually today too, by the way, fans. If this was my birthday day today, I'd expect all the messages to say, get stuffed, Dags, get stuffed, blow it out your ass. Why can't it be Aron's birthday? He's way cooler.
I want to know why when it's my birthday every year we do something, but on your birthdays it just slips through without us mentioning it.
Yes, it's like sand through the hourglass. Absolutely fantastic. Look at this. Finally, someone for me. Merry Christmas all, especially my little brother, me, little old me. So, yes, very, very cool. What can I say? Christmas is actually coming. It'll be here next week. But before we get to that, we're going to move on to some really exciting stuff. And for the last time this year, I should actually push this button. So let me just push the button. As always, things pop up when you least expect it. And this sort of popped up a couple of days ago. And I got to admit, unbelievable. Now, I just watched the 4th episode of Skeleton Crew just before we went on air. And I found out today, or like the other day, they've already made pops of the damn characters, even though the elephant dude doesn't seem to be there. How non-exciting is this for you, Mr. Aron?
Well, at least you could rip the hair off the chicken call her Geordie.
Yes, I do like the fact she wears the eyepiece, the Geordie LaForge eyepiece, but they've already made pops out of these guys, dude. What is the deal with that?
Well, I think that the Skeleton Crew probably is one of those Disney Star Wars franchises aimed at the younger audience, so they might squeeze some pops out of it. But if we were still doing useless pop of the week, some of those would be up for it, wouldn't they?
Well, I tend to agree, and I don't know why. I think it's I don't know what the name is of the elephant, but he just doesn't seem to be there. So, once again, the elephant's just been left on the wayside. But if you're into pops, and who is into pops these days? I don't think many people are, but if you are, then they've got Skeleton Crew ones already. It's like that's just what the world needs.
It's the one time that the elephant isn't in the room.
Indeedy doody didy. So there you go. But fans, deliberate timing of the merchandising. That's exactly what it is. And of course, they have It's Christmas. But you do wonder. In fact, even the robot's not there. SM33, as you said the other week, was actually named Smee, which I didn't even register myself, but he's not there either. So maybe they'll come a bit later in a second wave, Mr. Aron. Second wave of pops. How exciting is
that? I hope not.
Nah, love it. Very, very cool. Ironically, the elephant has been forgotten as they never forget. That is a very, very good point, actually. So he's actually one of the best characters of the show, that little dude, whatever his name is. And Mark has joined us as well. Happy birthday to you, sir. Everybody loves their Aron. Another ring around the trunk. Yay, team. Have you got another ring around the trunk there, dude? I'm struggling to decide.
Are we having an elephant-themed chat today?
Yeah, well, at this stage, I'll tell you what, we might be too. A little bit of news that's come out. I'm just going to chuck this one in. Silo, the series that we've sort of discussed before, they've announced second season is currently airing, and there's already signed up for season 3 and 4 already, as I understand it. So I tell you what, they obviously think this thing's got legs, unlike some elephants, and it seems to be going places. So now I haven't watched season 2 as yet. I'll wait till the whole thing is out. But Mr. Aron, I think you have. Any updates on how it's going?
Yeah, it's as good as series one. So if you enjoyed series one, you'd enjoy series two. I think it's interesting if you're a popular show and you have series one and series two filmed, how they announce series three and four, not like some Disney Plus shows co-funded by the BBC.
Oh, don't you worry. We shall be discussing that stuff later on, as it always is the go. But anyway, apparently the show's doing that well. They've said, yep, that's beauty. Just sign it up. If you're people working on the show, you'll be going, that's freaking awesome. We're getting signed up for the future. Let's hope its stories continue to improve, which is a very, very groovy. So, and for those who've not seen Silo, it is well worth checking out. Aaron got me onto it, and it is a spectacularly good series. Really, really well done. Excellent production design. And it's a sci-fi show set in the future. Once again, the world is miserable, as is often the case, Mr. Aaron. What do you think?
If I lived in a silo with those people, I'd probably be miserable too.
Good point. Now, this next thing coming up, I saw this as a joke, right? So for people out there, some people get a bit sensitive about these topics. Just chill out. It's just a bit of a gag, right? It's a Twilight Zone intro with Rod Serling, but it's dealing with current events. I just thought it was very, very clever. I'm going to have to read it out to you. Just chill, okay? We're not being critical one way or the other. All right, so here we go. Enter Donald J. Trump, two-bit con man, television huckster, a denizen of gaudy casinos and smoke-filled back rooms, who conned himself into the biggest job of all. He is our guide to a new realm you won't find on any map, a world of his own creation, where words like truth and lie no longer have meaning, where man's darkest instincts are to give license, and where things like human decency and tolerance are relics of a bygone day. Case in point, Mr. Donald Trump, a man with one foot in his mouth and the other in the Twilight Zone. Picture a man. How good was that, dude?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We need him back, don't we? He was always a great way
Donald
of
Trump.
summing. No.
He's coming back, dude. He's coming back in a couple of months.
I can't believe, again,
What?
he's been renewed and Doctor Who hasn't.
Oh, you and your freaking Docky Who, what can I say, eh? I'll tell you what, the old Docky Who, it's enough to make me want to press this button.
Doctor Who! Hey! The TARDIS! Doctor Who! Hey! The TARDIS!
Yeah, you had that coming, dude. So there you go. Very, very cool. I just thought that was very, very clever. I don't know who wrote that, but I saw it and I thought it was very, very cool. Speaking of very, very cool, for those people who like mini miners, you might want to just change this for your steering wheel. I saw someone had just posted this pic. How gross is that? A face hugger on your steering wheel, dude.
That's very cool. When you have like the Mad Max movies, how they take the steering wheel off so the cars can't be stolen. That would be another way. If you put one of them on there, no one's going to try and steal your car, are they?
Well, the alarm actually is in this part just here. So as you sit in the driver's seat, if you don't put the key in within 10 seconds, one guess what's coming out of that hole, dude. straight in the mouth, sucking out your gurglies, mate. So there you go.
My gurglies aren't in my mouth, Dags.
And don't forget, fans, he does have another ring around the trunk. So there you go. Marcus said, how many Doctor Who references can we get in today, gents? Yes, well, there'll better be a couple, but Aaron's doing really well so far. It is his birthday. I've got a cow down to it. No, it's not cow down. No, cow down to him a little bit. So don't you worry. Every Doctor Who reference is getting the ass today. What?
Cow down was a reference to Jodie Whittaker.
God damn it, dude.
Well, aren't we trying for Doctor Who references? I don't get what you're trying to say, Dags.
It's all right. It's our last episode of the year, so if we get banned, it really doesn't matter. So this picture popped up the other day, and the reference was interesting. So I'm going to show this to you. It was referring to the fact that this year, and it might have been the other day, last week, whatever, that was the actual 53rd birthday for Lucasfilm, which started in 1970-something. And I really liked the image, and I thought it was fantastic. But as I see it, there's a problem with the image, Mr. Aaron. What do you reckon the problem is?
Have they reversed it?
No, that's not it. Not sure.
I don't know. What's the problem, Dags?
So strictly speaking, I mean, I looked at this picture and I thought it was great. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. But clearly the issue with this is that even though Lucasfilm itself is 53 years old, George Lucas jumped out at 43 years or whatever it was. back in 2012. So strictly speaking, on the left-hand side, the sequel trilogy material, Kylo Ren and all that sort of stuff shouldn't really be there. Or if you do wish to include those images, then it should be a picture of George Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy together, because George had nothing to do with the sequel trilogy. So I just saw it as just an interesting observation. Make of that what you will. So do you reckon I'm on the right track on that one?
I think you probably are. I think he'd be embarrassed to be on that picture with the sequel trilogy stuff, wouldn't he? No, I shouldn't say that, because I don't mind them too much, but I do see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so because I thought, but it's like, yeah, guys, he had nothing to do with it. He already sold the thing off. I mean, he talked about the entire company. His name is in the company. I get that. It's all great and wonderful. So, but I thought, well, if you're talking about the way the company's structured, it should be both him and Kathleen together. But, you know, it's just a small thing, just a nitpick, if ever there was one, Mr. Aaron. How exciting is that? Yeah, what?
Did you hear the news? I'm not sure if it's part of the news coming up, that it leaked today that the Taika Waititi Star Wars movie's been dropped and cancelled, and the Patti Smith Rogue Squadron one is back in the development.
This week it is. Next week it'll be the other way around. It's like, oh my god. I mean, to be fair, they announced all these people doing all these films, and we thought, well, clearly a percentage, probably a large percentage, isn't going to come to fruition. And I don't think even Disney knows what the hell they're up to at the moment. So, I think it was Rangers of the New Republic, or was it Rogue Squadron itself? One of the two. But as you said, Rogue Squadron, yeah, it was off, then it's on. It's like, oh my god. So,
like a Katy Perry song.
A little bit, actually. So, as I said, wait till it's a Christmas gift to the fans. Yes, Rogue Squadron is back in, and then next year, like, nah, sorry, fans. With the Lucasfilm taketh, and the Lucasfilm giveth, and the Lucasfilm taketh away. So, dear. So, yes.
Because I can't spell, and I'm totally dyslexic. I thought it was Rouge Squadron, and about the Moulin Rouge girls coming back in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, imagine they said, Joker 2 was a musical. Why can't we make a Star Wars musical and call it Rouge 1? So, Rouge Squadron.
please don't put that out into the universe. It's likely to happen.
Rouge Squadron, absolutely fantastic. Here we are on this unique planet in Star Wars. It just happens to look like some kind of French, I don't know what Moulin Rouge was, a theatre place. All the characters are wearing like fishnet stockings and whatever. What could possibly go wrong, Mr. Aaron?
Yeah, Moulin Rouge is a big windmill, or as in the Star Wars universe, a carbonite chamber.
Tell you what, you're not wrong. Now, guess what, fans? This is a bit of a big deal, okay? So put down your keyboards and make sure you pay attention for the next moment or two, because not only is the Aaron-shaped lad open up for the Christmas this Saturday, but next door, upstairs, which is just to the left of this photograph, is going to be opened as well. So if you haven't actually been to the store for a while, you get to go to two shops. Aaron's store downstairs and Aaron's Collectibles upstairs. Mr. Aaron, how exciting is all this, son?
Yep, so you go out and exit stage left, and then you go up, and we've got a whole nother room of toys, which I will be refilling of from the stock we sold last week. It was been open last week and will be open this week leading up to Christmas. And also we're doing daily advent calendars with more and more bargains that are getting better and better as we get closer to Christmas. And I'm pretty sure this weekend is going to be a huge weekend in the shop as well. And Dags will be on, so you can come down and get stories and ask him questions and autographs too.
Mate, what can I say? And with your advent calendar, the funny thing was, so for those who don't know, the store has been doing a special sale or a special promotion every single day. And a week or two ago, it was 50% off all pops, except for the Skeleton Crew ones, because you don't have those. 50% off all pops for one day. And how many pops did you sell that day, Aaron? 0. Goose eggs. Absolutely fantastic. Is that box of Timpo figures still there? I have no idea what that even is, Mr. Aaron.
I can't actually remember. I think it's still up there somewhere. Russell, who posted a question on my personal timeline a week ago, I put something up behind me that answers the question. If you want to look where I'm pointing, Russell, that's just a little in joke though.
What? Where do you point?
Oh, it's just he asked if I had something in the shop, but I have a mint boxed one in my personal collection.
Oh, that looks very, very exciting. Oh, well, there you go. So, yes, very, very cool. Yes, as Chrissy said, it's the last bit of shopping for Chrissy, which is very, very important. So get your furry ones down there, fans. go into the store, say hello to Aaron, buy some stuff. You can say good day to me. And of course, upstairs is where all the action is. So it very rarely opens up. So it is a bit of a big deal. So make sure you come on down and get
When you
those
say
last
get your
quick.
furry ones down there, do you mean you should bring your earwax?
Yeah, that'll hurt. What can I say? So I'm just sticking with that. And of course, the best thing is it's only supposed to be 21 degrees on Saturday, so it won't be as stinking hot as it has been in previous weeks, which is very, very groovy. Funnily enough,
Yes.
the next picture I'm going to show relates to exactly what I just said. I saw this yesterday. Jeffro posted this or found this somewhere online, and I thought this was absolutely hysterical. Put this on the top of your Christmas tree, straight out of They Live, consume. And that's consume as in like purchase, not consume as in eat, I think. But
Yeah.
what do you reckon about that, Mr. Aaron? They should have consume and your Aaron's collectibles just underneath it. Is that right?
Well, I think the They Live aliens were some of the coolest aliens ever, and it was really smart way of doing it because the way it was filmed, you hardly had to feature them in it, and when they were featured, they were in black and white. So there's only one tiny scene at the end where you actually see them in color. But if you have your special glasses on, you'll come in and you'll see Dags and I are both capitalist aliens, not the jovial people that you think we are.
What are you pointing the finger at me for, dude? I'm sweet and innocent, dude. I tell you what, mate. There's only one of these in the store, and it's not me.
Yes, always two there
dear.
are, a master and an apprentice.
Yes, well, a bit of a dodgy. I'm not actually the dog. I'm actually the dog's bowl. What can I say? Greg has said, "Are you open on Christmas Eve?" The answer would be yes. I suspect. Is that right?
We are.
So there you go.
Have I ever
sale? 85% off. That's my ultimate motto. You go on.
Have I ever told you the story of capitalist the wise?
So who am I sending my therapist bill to? Scary. Yes, it was very, very groovy. I absolutely love it. Oh, hang on. I was on innocent as Ronald Biggs. Oh, cop that if you don't mind. Oh, excuse me. So there you go. Sticking with the jokes. We're nearly at the end of this. This is the news segment. I got to admit, I just have a bit of laugh at this stuff. And if you've heard of Elf on the Shelf, what about read out the one on the left for me, dude?
I've got a better one. It's like sock, but we won't. I can't really show it, but
good on
I
you.
will read it.
So
you've heard of Elf on the Shelf. What about Spock on the cock?
Very good. And it took me a while to work out the one on the right-hand side because, like, you've heard of Elf on the Shelf. What about Chopper on the Whopper? I didn't realize it was a Hungry Jack's Whopper burger, but yes.
I can't even say this with a straight face, but a lot of people call my chopper a Whopper.
Oh dear. So there you go. So fans, if you ever see Aaron wearing a Mr. Spock shirt, you can say whatever you want with that.
The one I saw this week was Lando on the Mando.
Yes, I did see that too. I saw that today, actually. I was going to put that in and go, nah, it's just too common. Sick of the Star Wars stuff. Over the Star Wars stuff, it's giving me the red hot squirts. And with that in mind, here's a Star Wars reference. I just saw this today. It's actually very, very funny.
There's been a few of these. I think someone's designing retro toys and games based on the Star Wars trilogy, but more ones with an adult trend. Have you seen the trash compactor ad? It's like a little tent that kids can come in and then it mashes them and blood sprays out everywhere.
Oh, that is awesome. Every time the tentacle grabs a kid, you hear this.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Very, very
Every
good.
time
that was funny.
Every time a tentacle grabs a kid, a bounty hunter gets his blaster.
He does. How's this? Russell said you have lowered the tone of this show, which is saying something. Dude, we are doing our best to crawl our way up to the gutter. Don't you worry about that. So, dear, which is very, very groovy. And just finally, it is Christmas. All right. So if you're going to go and watch a Christmas movie, forget your Die Hards and Batman Returns and Die Hard 2s and blahs. There is only one science fiction Christmas movie, and it has to be Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Be sure to watch this on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I love the fact that a Santa Claus conquers the Martians. He doesn't befriend the Martians. He doesn't help the Martians. He doesn't assist the Martians. He conquers them with the big black boots straight on their head. So always love the titling of the movie. A 1960s classic, but is well worth checking out, Mr. Aaron. And I have 2 copies of it in my DVD collection. And that's how pathetic I am. What do you reckon, dude? Santa Claus conquers the Martians. Huh?
They should have had Santa Claus conquers the Martians. It's slaying time, or something like
It
that.
is. I love that. Any collectibles for this particular show, Mr. Aaron?
Yes, there is a Gold Key comic which I would love to get, but it's a bit expensive. I would buy pops of Santa Claus conquers the Martians, though. That would be, the Martians, Santa, the kids. You could put that around your nativity, and it'd be better than the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Tell you what, hooray for Sanity Claus. What can I say? Anyway, that's the end of the news. We're done for the year. Speaking of the year, it is 2024 in review. Now, normally we would just go through this one thing at a time. We're not going to do that. We're just going to make it up as we go along. A few pictures for a few movies and TV shows. We're just chucking it out there. Because you know what? There's been so much stuff that's come out. I've actually forgotten what half of it was. So kick it off, Mr. Aaron. What?
I've got to say, that picture you've put together, that's worthy of being in Jeff's shed.
Hang on. Jeff's shed. Why in Jeff's shed?
Oh, you've forgotten. We did a thing for different segments, and Jeff's shed just got more and more sexual as it went through.
It's not a sexualized picture. Oh, you got a filthy mind.
What's that at the bottom? What's that thing? What's that girl reclining at the bottom? What's that?
That's from Megal. Well, she's about to eat a cherry. She's about to eat a cherry, dude. So, oh my God, where are we going with this? All right. Okay. So anyway, what? Yeah, go on.
I'd like to point out 4 out of those 5 girls, you can't see any clothes.
Well, there you go. All right, I'm just going to move on because otherwise we'll never get to 20. Hang on, really? Oh yeah. He's absolutely right. I didn't even think of that. Strategically placed photoshopping. What can I say? So, yes. Shit, dude, where you killing me? All right,
that's what they call Freudian, Dags.
Yeah, right. Let's get on with it. Anyway, so I'm just going to kick this one off. The first thing I thought of when I was looking up movies and TV shows for this year, who remembers this? Bloody Rebel Moon, right? Parts 1, parts 2. What?
Of course we remember it because we watched so many different versions of it, and each one was less and less memorable than the previous.
So there were 2 theatrical versions, if you will, on Netflix, and Snyder just said, I'm going to do a 3.5-hour freaking director's cut of both parts 1 and 2. I never watched them. I couldn't get around to it. I don't think you did either, but I don't know if anybody watching us right now actually ever got around to watching the director's cut, but I thought I'd just kick off with this one, Mr. Aaron. Rebel Moon from months ago. Any thoughts on Mr. Rebel Moon that sort of springs to mind?
I'm just surprised from the pictures you used at the beginning that you didn't use the tentacle sex scene out of this as the picture to represent Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon, I think if people remember the background, was going to be sort of a Star Wars movie that was pitched for Lucasfilm by Snyder, but they knocked it back. And you can see that the roots were definitely in a Star Wars movie, and they just changed a little bit around and went for it in the Snyderverse. It was just a ho-hum watch for me. I didn't think it was very good.
I wanted to watch the director's cut. I thought I can't allocate, was it 7 hours to do it, and I just never got around to it. So, but anyway, that was one of the big things that came out at the start of the year, and it's kind of like died a death since then, and who knows where it's all going to go. As I said, it's okay if anybody watching us now wants to just bring up some movies and or TV shows from this year they want to discuss. If I got the pictures for them, I'll pull them up. I'm sure that you'll probably want to. What anything you want to discuss or look back upon for 2024, old son?
No, it's been a mixed bag this year. I think what's happened is we're still kind of recovering from writer strike, lockdowns, and that kind of thing. And Hollywood is sort of still self-correcting. And I think what has happened, we got a whole lot of stuff that may not have been made if there wasn't a hole in the industry that they needed to fill it with. And then there's other stuff that seemed very rushed. And then there's gems among the stuff that came out this last 12 months as well. So
I'm just going to cycle through a few pictures of various things that did come out this year because you sort of forget. Like Furiosa came out this year. I haven't seen this. Did you ever get around to seeing this, dude?
I did. This bombed absolutely ferociously, and I thought it was a good movie.
Okay.
So, for those that don't know, Furiosa, it's a spin-off of the newer Mad Max, and it was one of those things where it's the life of Cameron Diaz's movie from the first Fury Road. And I thought it was actually quite well done, and it does tie in. It's just I think a lot of people really just wanted to see more Mad Max, so this is like a side project that doesn't give you your Mad Max feel. But apart from that, I thought it was a good apocalyptic futuristic movie. It just suffers from being in the Mad Max universe, I think.
Yeah, enough. Fair enough. I brought this up like from last week because I finally got around to seeing Transformers 1, and I did mention, for those who didn't see last week, I actually really enjoyed this. I'm not actually very much a Transformers person at all. I'm very much an ignoramus for it all, but I really like the story. The animation is excellent. The color is excellent, and I found it to be a very good origin story for Optimus Prime and Megatron. You said you never got around to seeing this. Is that right?
Yeah, it is one I really want to see. I have just been too busy to be able to, watch movies. Usually I have
No,
a
that's okay.
limited time, and I'll watch stuff that Tennille wants to watch as well. And because she doesn't watch this, I haven't had time to watch it by myself.
No, I thought because like Chris Hemsworth does the voice for Optimus Prime in the younger days, and it's just interesting to see their backstory, where it all came from. Not sure if it's entirely canon or not, but
Yeah.
I actually really, really enjoyed it. This is B Shaw. First time we've actually seen B Shaw. We discussed Silo earlier, so sorry you kind of missed that. It was only just a brief chat in the news regarding the third and fourth seasons being confirmed for Silo. So hopefully you can stick around for the rest of the show, though, because it'll all be worth it, Mr. Aron. What do you reckon?
We did give it a big thumbs up, and
yes,
I haven't read the books. My wife has. She says they're really faithful to the books. They've, of course, it's not going to have everything that's in the books in the series. Can't really talk about it without spoiling much.
Yeah.
Tennille, my wife, spoiled it on the first episode where she goes, "Hang on, I think I've read this. Oh, this is the one where this is happening." Thanks, honey. Thanks a lot.
Love it. Regarding Furiosa, Russell said he should have called it Mad Maxine. Yeah, that's actually quite good. And Chrissy said, seemed to me that this year was a year of reimagining or sequel movies. Funnily enough, there's only one franchise that I can think of that had both a TV series and a movie this year. And you'd be amazed at what that is when the time comes. Keeping going, this happened a few months ago, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think we both agreed it was a good movie, but it was kind of unnecessary at the same time. Sort of pushed the story in a direction that it didn't need to go into. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add on top of that.
Well, it's part of the second trilogy. I thought it was a middling Planet of the Apes, where there's definitely ones that are worse, but there's definitely ones that are better. It is just a good watch if you like science fiction.
Yeah, but it did come under the heading of like, well, was it really necessary? Yeah, well, I don't think so. But still, it looked good, and that's probably one of the most important things. And it was filmed in Australia too, which is kind of cool. This, funnily enough, is one of the two. It was the only franchise that I can think of that had both a movie and a TV series. And of course, it was Dune Part 2, which came out. It was a massive, big deal. What?
We already talked about Transformers that had movie and TV series as well. So
no, but Transformers have a movie this year. Sorry, a TV series this year.
Yeah. Earlier on Netflix, they had a new Transformers as well. I think it was this year. You might be right; it might be a year old. But I thought they had the Cybertron on Netflix.
Certainly possible. Yeah, it's certainly possible. I'm happy to be corrected, but the only one I could think of, at least from a live action perspective, was the Dune series. So yeah, Part 2. This came out. It was a bit of a big deal when it came out all those months ago. I mean, most people have kind of forgotten about it since then. And there's a lot of discussion about moving into the third film, which is Dune Messiah. But it certainly wrapped up the two parts quite nicely, Mr. Aron. And I think everybody really liked it.
I really, really loved it. I thought it was a really good cinematic movie, and if you see it on the biggest screen you'd probably be rewarded for that. I thought the story was good in that because they split it over two movies, they were able to cover more than they did in the original book. And even though there isn't more storyline told, really, there's just a lot more in it. Also, the thing that I found that when Dune Part 1 ended, I was a little bit disappointed. I actually thought Part 2 made Dune 1 better. It's one of those sequels that when you watch the first part in hindsight with Part 2, it actually makes that movie better too. So if a movie can do that, it's all right in my book. Are we going to talk about the series as well?
Of
Dune Prophecy.
Yes, that'll be coming up. I'm just doing movies at the moment, but yes, we are. B. Shaw mentioned Foundation. Did season 2 come out this year or last year? I've kind of lost.
I think it was last year because I was really I think it's been cancelled because there was no series this year. Foundation was another one I absolutely loved. There's some cinematic stuff in that. We have discussed Foundation in past episodes, though. Yeah. I didn't know it had been cancelled, actually. If it is, we'll have to look that up. But I didn't sort of see any references for this year. Of course, Alien Romulus came out this year. As we both said, it was like a mishmash of
all the other 4 movies combined. Great for anyone who has never seen an Alien movie ever. But for purists, it was a little like a bit of same old, and it didn't really push the story in any direction. One thing I did find out, which I never really registered before, but it's been confirmed that both the Alien universe and the Blade Runner universe are set in the same universe. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that, though. It doesn't surprise me because they're both Ridley Scott for the first movies. But how that works out with licensing and things like that, I'm not 100% sure. I thought Aliens was good. Alien Romulus was good when it was doing stuff that the other Alien movies hadn't done. So for me, the callbacks to old movies distracted from the new material for me. I liked it. I didn't love it.
Yeah. So it's mentioned on one of the screens for those who are trying to do all the details. It is when they're in Aliens and they're going through the files of all the people that got killed on the Nostromo. On one of the files, it actually makes a reference that Wayland, as in the Wayland guy, actually was connected with Tyrell from Tyrell Corporation, and that's where the link is. So, and it's referenced somewhere else as well. So, but apparently, they're both set in the same universe. But who knew? So, very, very cool. Another one, of course, I didn't see this. Godzilla versus Kong. I guess if you're into movies that like it, there's just a bit like mindless violence and bashing the shit out of everybody. I don't know if you saw this at all, but everybody loves the Monsters franchise. It seems to be going quite well.
I didn't actually see this either. It's one of those, we've had so many Kong, Godzilla kind of mashups when there was other stuff on. It wasn't one that grabbed me as standing out. So I've heard it was good, but I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, I saw Godzilla versus Kong, the first one of these, and it was just meant to be switch your brain off and just watch the carnage unfold. And for that reason, and because visual effects these days look so good, it was easy for just people to just go, you know what, I love what I'm seeing. I want to see two monsters having a bash up, and I'm seeing just that, which is really groovy. Russell said, Jin, wasn't a story meant to be told in multiple parts, like Lord of the Rings, which is written as 3 books. You are right. Had the June movie been made in one long 5-hour movie, that may have kind of worked. But at the time, they didn't know that part 2 was even going to get funding. And so they made part 1 and said, if it works, we'll do part 2. But they obviously didn't have the funding to do the whole lot in one go. But I guess there will probably be a version where they take out all the credits, stick it together, one 5-hour film, and it'll probably be much easier to watch, which is very, very groovy. So good stuff. Gavin's joined us at the very end. He just said happy birthday, which is very good.
Thanks,
there you go.
mate.
So cool stuff. Of course, Megalopolis came out. We mentioned this earlier. Now, a lot of people haven't seen it. A lot of people probably don't care about it, but I still wanted to reference it because it was a Francis Ford Coppola movie, a big superstar film director making a science fiction movie. Bit of a brain strain for those who've never seen it. And but I don't think you got around to it, did you, though, dude?
No, it wasn't in the cinema long enough.
No.
Something that's just come up, though, from B. Shaw. Fantastic news. Series 3 of Foundation did film this year, so it looks like we will get it. So that is really good news because I really love the first 2 series.
Yeah, as we highlighted, people who love the books despise the TV series, a bit like Halo had a similar problem, those who love the game of Halo. But anyway, but those who never read the books or know nothing about them absolutely love the series, much like I did with you, which was kind of cool. But good on Megalopolis. A bit of a brain strainer. You can almost need to smoke the wacky tobacco when watching this, but it's good to see at least it found its legs. It got some life. It's been released. And if anybody watches this and can explain to me what the entire story was about, you're doing better than I am, because even I got lost towards the end. But it looked awesome. That's the most important thing, Mr. Aron. What do you reckon?
And that's what counts, style over substance.
Absolutely fantastic. The Phantom Menace Yay team. Very, very cool. Now, you did see this. A Quiet Place Day 1 came out all those months ago, the prequel series film to the franchise. And at the time, you didn't think it was much chop.
No, I was disappointed by this. It's one of those movies where it has a really great premise. Alien invasion is always great to see. And then as I watched it, I realized what I wanted to see in the movie they were not going to show, and they were going to concentrate on character development, which is absolutely fine, but show the audience what's on the label as well. Especially the trailer is one of those which I think is really misleading, where it's like day 1 alien invasion, and then the alien invasion starts, someone gets knocked out, and then they wake up and it's all done. And you're just like, oh my, that was not the. Obviously, it's cheaper for the studios to do it this way. but I did think if it's the third one in a franchise and they went in a totally different direction, didn't work for me.
Yeah, so that's a good example of where they said, I want to show all these aliens taking over the world. Oh, your budget's just been slashed. All right, fine, we'll knock somebody out and they'll wake up and it's already happened. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Guy said he played Halo and saw the series and didn't like it, enjoyed both of them. I think you'll find you're in the minority, but good for you because I thought Halo was a fantastic series. But I know game players weren't a fan. And the last of our movies, there were a lot of movies released this year. I've only just cherry picked a couple. Was good old Atlas, good old Jennifer Lopez doing her thing. This was a Netflix job too, if I recall, and if I remember correctly, it was okay. It wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but any thoughts on Atlas before we move on, Mr. Aron?
It is almost like that sort of Netflix where mediocre science fiction goes to live. It is one of those things where the budget was obviously there. They had really good ideas, but for some reason it just seemed a bit flat to me. It was an okay watch once, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I worked on the view that Jennifer Lopez did a good job, but in the hands of another more skilled actress, it could have actually gone further. Russell said he hasn't seen any of the stuff we've talked about. Christy used to be like this with us, our stuff. Never saw anything that we ever talked about so far. Though I do plan to watch the Dune remake someday, which is a very, very cool. Yes, I know. Sorry, Guy, I said it wrong. I know you love both. I just worded it really badly. So, and Michael also said that Atlas was, sort of came and went. Not exactly one that people are going to be remembering for years to come. That's the movies done. In the TV series, yes, Dune Prophecy. As I said, got a Dune movie and a Dune TV series. The 5th episode came out a couple of days ago. They've got one episode left. For people who love political intrigue, which is really what Dune's all about, it is freaking awesome. The production design and the production values are fantastic. And it is definitely a story where you never know the machinations of what's going on in the background, where everybody's trying to get power in the Imperium. What do you reckon, Mr. Aron?
Oh, the machinations, weren't they a good 80s group? But it is one of those, it is everything the Acolyte wasn't. In fact, if they had kept this exact same story and set it in the Star Wars universe, changed the names to be a bit more Star Warsy and given it some Star Wars looking tech, I would say this would have been one of the best Star Wars series that was ever made. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because I love it as a Dune series and it's like kicking ass. I think it's a really amazing series. When I saw the first episode, I think I said, I thought that was the best pilot episode since Game of Thrones dropped. And it's hard to keep up that momentum if you drop something so good. I do like it comes out weekly because it would be something you could watch quite quickly over a weekend. And I do think it is one of the more event level television science fictions that we've had in a while. I think the cast is actually cast perfectly. Every single one, they've really done a good job in casting them. And even to the point where you have younger versions of different characters, you can actually see that they haven't just chosen everyone. They've actually really done people who have the same look, but the same mannerisms and talk the same as well. And the other thing, it's got quite a young cast because there's acolytes in it. And I think they've got some acting chops too, especially when they're possessed and doing other accents and things like that. So I've been impressed by this right across the board. Even the music I really love.
Yeah, it's definitely a show that is just done really well for itself. Stories. It's supposed to be within stories, within stories, within stories. Absolutely love that. You are right, the Dune kids. And as you said, even in the last episode, they keep making references to the Acolyte. And as you said, that sounds like a nice little dig at the real Acolyte, which of course also came out this year. The stories of the Acolyte. I think in the end, it kind of got hard done by. I assume like the fan base just sunk the boots into it, probably a bit unfairly. Maybe she could change one or two small things and it may have come out okay, but history is as it is, and it kind of got bashed to death by the audience. And there you are. That's the Acolyte for you, dude. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's one of those things, the whole mantra of the Acolyte was how the fan reviewers treated it. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. When one gets on the bandwagon of taking something down and kicking it, everyone does. And before long, everyone hates it. I agree with you. Look, I was disappointed with it and I didn't think it was that good for a Star Wars series. For me, it let me down more on the production values. It was meant to be one of the most expensive series ever made. And they were raving about the production. I'm like, this just looks like a set. And I do look at the prophecy, the Dune Prophecy, and I go, this is cinematic. And it's not cost as much as the Acolyte, I don't think. So the Acolyte should have looked as good, and it just doesn't. And the one place you can see it, I don't know if you noticed this, when they do the space scenes in Dune Prophecy, I almost go, wow, they're as good as Ralph McQuarrie drawings. Some of the planetscapes and stuff like that seem to be in 4K with the detail, where the Acolyte looked very, science fiction TV show. And it's just little things like that all the way through. Then the story of the Acolyte really didn't work for me, because they did the thing where they show part of the story over, but it's not it's not shown through two different person's eyes, which then you would understand why it was different. It's just like, we're shown it in one episode, a couple of episodes later we're shown it again and it's different. And that's just lying to the audience. If it was, this is through one twin, this is through the other, fair enough. But they didn't do that.
As I was pointed out, it was kind of amusing. You got the who done it, who killed the Jedi in the first episode, and all the Jedi going, who killed this Jedi? And we're all going as the audience, well, she did, because we saw her do it. So they obviously didn't take a leaf out of Ellery Queen or any of those shows, or Kolchak or whatever. So it's pretty damn obvious. Yeah. But anyway, regardless, it is what it is. Yeah, people can make up their own minds regarding Acolyte, but I do think that somewhere down the track, a year or two from now, maybe people will do a rewatch and it will get reevaluated. But yeah, this year it got panned pretty badly. But Star Wars doesn't end on one TV series. As we know, they've got a production line of the damn things. And of course, Skeleton Crew is currently out, even as we speak. The previous episode 4, came out yesterday, I think it was. It's interesting. I don't know if it's divided the fan base or not. I found it to be quite entertaining, although I did find that last week's episode, Jude Law's character just overwiped the kids. He was suddenly like, oh, he's the new actor in town. The kids kind of got pushed to the side, but at least in episode 4, they got brought back into it again. It's not bad. It's a bit of fun, shits and giggles.
Yeah,
what do you reckon?
You're absolutely right, because I'm being in the shop all week, and it has divided fandom, where some people have said this is one of the funnest and nicest Star Wars movies, and it's for kids, not movie series, and it's for kids. And other people are going, what is this shit that I am watching that has Star Wars on it? It has really, really divided. I am in the boat where it's probably not made at my age group, but for my age group, but I find it entertaining. It reminds me of the kids' movies like Last Starfighter, and of course The Goonies has been referenced a lot of times. The musical cues even have a lot of sort of 80s musical cues from kids' movies in it, which I appreciate. It's got a lot of Easter eggs through it, and I think that's a nod to older fans. If you have like a whole family of Star Wars fans, and the younger kids love this one, if you're an older fan, you can go, oh, that's from this and that's from this. And it's just something to keep the oldies a bit more interested as well. So I don't love it. It's no Andor, but I don't hate it as much as some of the people who are saying it's not great.
Yeah, I think the what makes it work is the chemistry between the 4 kids is really gelling, even though the one with the buffy hair is just annoying as all hell, because he just like, keep your head down and he'll stick your set up. Don't press the button. He presses the button, that sort of shit. Once again, I think the Blue Elephant is the one to pay attention to. I think it's quite good. So those 4, even if you took Jude Law out, just those 4 alone are actually quite good. Their chemistry is really, really good.
I totally agree with you. It almost feels like Jude Law isn't needed in this.
Yeah, I agree.
If you take the Goonies analogy, you've got the kids and the robot would be Sloth, and that would be enough.
Yeah, I agree. Can you just move a fraction to your left, dude? Just get you nice and centered. Make sure, cool. Marcus said, I just binge watched this so far. Not too bad. My son liked it as well. As more of a family watch, I think. Totally agree.
Yeah, Mark, there's some pop vinyls you could hurry up and get for your son for Christmas.
But don't, if you want a blue elephant, you got no luck. Better than the Acolyte. Yeah, they're completely different animals. So from an entertainment perspective, definitely. One show that started off with so much promise, and they were given the ass almost immediately, was Time Bandits, based on the Terry Gilliam movie from back in the 80s or whatever it was. They big, like, bells and whistles, and I don't know if they even got a season completed, and the whole thing got the ass, and now the world's forgotten all about it, Mr. Aron. Bloody hell.
I can't believe it. I illegally downloaded this show and still couldn't watch it because it was terrible. So I got like one episode in and basically my mind said, what is this bullshittery? Like, they've totally discarded the original. The interesting thing is, I think behind the scenes, Terry Gilliam was involved and loving it until he went to the set, and then he's like, I washed his hands of it and I don't want anything to do with this anymore, which is one of those things that's probably says to me, if you grew up with the original, you're not going to like the new version.
So really, it was that bad, was it?
Yeah, and that was on the set, apparently.
Oh, geez. I actually thought it was a popular show. People liked it. And then for whatever reason, it just got the House of Father. So, oh, okay. It's really quite sad. It'll just disappear in the midst of time, a bit like some fantasy movies like Willow, which is not related to our discussion, came and went, and people are just going to forget it even existed, which is a little bit sad, but okay, fair enough.
Unless you buy the video from Caribbean Gardens.
Yeah, exactly right. If Caribbean Gardens was still around. Another series that came out, of course, the animated series, Terminator Zero, based on an anime style. I think we both watched this and really enjoyed it. I can't remember much about it, to be frankly honest, but all I do know is that it was actually a really well presented story, a very, very good concept, and the animation was outstanding. Very violent too, if I recall, but
yeah,
maybe your thoughts a bit better than mine on this one, dude.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. It was really good because it had a well thought out and executed story. I would also say to anyone who doesn't like anime or hasn't dipped their finger into anime, this would be a good starting place because it's a strong enough story with the franchise that you'll get hooked up in the story without overanalyzing the presentation with the cartoon sort of behind it. I would be quite happy to see different franchises done in this style because I thought it was quite stylish and quite well done. I always think the cornerstone of a good movie or TV series is actually the writing, and this definitely had good writing.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing that did have very good writing was Fallout, based on the game. People buried underground for all this period of time when all the wars are occurring above them, and of course, someone's got to stick their noses out at some point to see what's going on. I think a lot of people really dial into this. It was really well done in terms of its production design and quality, and all the characters worked extremely well. And I think people are just absolutely chomping at the bit, waiting for a season 2, Mr. Aron.
It is one of those things where it's interesting in Hollywood where sometimes projects mimic each other, and this is almost like a funkier version of Silo, the way that it's presented. And then, of course, this came out and didn't really offend any of the Fallout fans. They were smart enough to stick to all the key things in the franchises that the fans wanted to see, not like Halo. And then quite soon after it, Borderland came out that everyone hated, and it kind of had a very similar, based on a video game, very similar look, but was just awful.
See, Michael's actually said that Borderlands was good too, so I never saw Borderlands, but
sorry, Michael.
But I just remember Fallout was actually really riveting and really well done. Another show that came out of nowhere that got everybody by surprise was Three Body Problem. And unlike a lot of shows, this one was actually centered around what happened in China, and absolutely really riveting story. And I think that when we discussed it at the time, this was another one we thought, yeah, this is really going places, and was very entertaining.
Yeah, this was another one of my favorite series from the year, probably because it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't have many expectations and just watched it and pretty much binged it. It was a very compelling and easy to watch story. It was complicated enough to be thoughtful and not, unless you've read the book, not know where it was going. It had some really great twists. It had some sequences which I really love that I've never seen done in TV or movies before, particularly the microfiber with the ship going through it, which, if you think about it, there's the laser grid in Resident Evil, and that's about it for that kind of thing. So I do appreciate it when they bring something to the screen that I've never seen before.
Yeah, the laser grid in Resident Evil was a fantastic effect, but when they applied to a ship, a big cargo ship, and it was like, that alone was just a magnificent sequence, even though it didn't end well for everybody on board. And just finally, as I said, there was a lot of TV shows that came out, absolutely fantastic, right? There's some that we just are not going to cover off because we don't have the time. But this one we do have to bring up. Yes, it is Mr. Aron's favourite, good old Docky Who season or series, whatever it is, 14, Yay Team, Shooty Gawa, Party.
What have we said about Doctor Who that hasn't already been said in like every other episode for the whole year? Unfortunately, I think the series has probably been marred by behind the scenes drama. I don't think I've said earlier in the year, and I will double down on this. I don't think Shooty will come back as the Doctor. I don't think it's going to come back at all. I think it's going to be rested. I don't even know if Disney is going to show Series 2. They are showing the Christmas special next week, so probably they will show Series 2, especially if they've got money put into it. But I'm not hearing good things. I'm hearing Disney and BBC are taking each other's branding off each other's products because they want to separate things that quickly. So Russell T Davies came out a week ago and said it was an interesting experiment, which sounds to me like he's saying it didn't work and we're not going to go forward with it. I'm not hearing anything about Series 3 going into production anytime soon, just from some of the contacts I have. So no matter what they say online, that's the exclusive from here. I think Doctor Who's going to have a rest. After, of course, the next series we review on DNA Reviews, the war between the land and the sea. A full-on epic with Sea Devils and Unit and the Master and all this crazy stuff. Are you looking forward to this, Dags?
Not even remotely looking forward to it. Couldn't interest me. I'll just go watch reruns of The Acolyte or something. Bound to entertain me just that little bit more. The last time I came across Sea Devils, that was definitely not my finest moment. What can I say? All I'm looking at the TV thinking, why is Aron making we watch this? Absolute rubbish.
Well, I was in as much horror and shock as you. I didn't turn around to you and say, why didn't you like it? That's the best thing ever. I apologize to you for making you watch it.
So you damn well should too. So there you go. Very, very cool. That's the end of our movies and reviews of 2024. A lot of stuff did actually come out, and there's still things coming out, which is kind of funny, even with only a couple of weeks left in the year. But it's one of those things. Until you actually look at the numbers, you go, there's actually a lot of material. Some good, some not so good, some successful, some not so successful. But the important thing is that the genre, the science fiction genre, is still kicking a lot of goals, and there's still a lot of product being produced, which means there's always something for us to watch, which is the most important thing. And with that in mind, we're actually going to slightly rearrange things a little bit because, believe it or not, fans, even though we didn't publicize it, it's our very last version of Toy Stories where Aron gets to answer questions that people have been always bugging him about. And this is actually quite a good segment. And we're going to discuss, Mr. Aron, the collectible you've owned the longest. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, this is a question that surprisingly comes up all the time. What is the collectible that you've owned the longest? And when you think about it, you kind of have to define what is actually a collectible. If you were given something as a child and you've still got it, is that a collectible or just something that you never got rid of? But if you were given something as a child and it happens to be something that you collect as an adult, then it probably is a collectible. So we're going to go through a few things and try and get to the bottom of this murky question and see if I've still got anything from my childhood, or if, like the capitalist dog, I've just sold my childhood for galactic credits.
Okay, sit tight. Moneybags has asked, we've been discussed, have either of you watched Secret Level yet? No, I haven't. Have you?
I've downloaded it. I haven't watched it yet. It's on the to-do list.
Very good. Guy said overtime, guys, not yet. So we'll see how we go. But anyway, over to you, Mr. Aron.
So this is one that even freaks me out. It's my birthday today. I'm turning 51. 51 years ago, I popped into this world, and my parents did what a lot of parents do. Well, I think a lot of parents do. They kept all the newspapers for the day I was born. They kept, I'm English, so they kept the Times, and they kept the Radio Times, and they kept a couple of other ones. But can you believe they kept the Radio Times that had a Doctor Who cover, Who's Your Friend? So when people ask me, when did you start collecting? I can honestly say the day I was born is when I got my first item of merchandise. So, but is that me being a collector, or that's just a happy coincidence? Well, I've got to tell you, a lot of these coincidences happen in my life. Dags has seen them, but this is another one of those really weird ones where I didn't discover this until I was about 18. So, no, probably 14 actually. So my parents were going through the garage and they found the suitcase full of all the knickknacks and baby stuff and bits and pieces, and they undid the paper. And there's a mint version of the Radio Times that was put away the day I was born. In Australia, literally impossible to find. Before the days of the internet, never seen one. Took it along to the Doctor Who Club of Victoria. People had seen pictures, never seen one locally. So that technically is the oldest collectible that I have in my collection. How amazing is that?
Chrissy said it was an omen of things to come. Yeah, there's probably some interesting sort of serendipity discussion thing about the fact that a Doctor Who thing is there on your day of birth, and here you are 51 years later on the same day, and it's still a major part of your life. That's pretty unique, actually.
I do like the heading is "Who's Your Friend?" and Doctor Who has been my friend my entire life.
Very, very cool. All right, good stuff.
So these are some of the interesting things I was given as a kid, and I still have. I don't know if you'd really class them as collectibles, but they have been stuff when we've had clear outs I have deliberately kept. The Old Woman in the Shoe House is something that a lot of people probably had as a child. It's been in Fisher Price range and Little People range and different versions of it. It's to teach how to tie shoes and numbers and counting and things like that in a fun way. And it is in itself, even though it isn't a franchise item, it has become an iconic item, and a lot of people would remember that. And I had one, and I still have it in very good condition. Did you have one of those, Dags? Because that was a common toy. No, not at all.
No. I remember seeing them, but I never actually had one. Yeah, go on.
Well, the other thing on that page, which I've put there and is really interesting, it's Dr. Mad's Hairy Scary Monster Maker. And this is the power of advertising. Little me, I would have been 4 because I was in kindergarten when I got this. It is the first time I can remember advertising on TV, so seeing an ad for this and then asking my parents for something and getting it. So I could not even find the ad online, but I could remember the ad as a kid. And I've always been into horror and monsters and stuff, and it isn't anything, it's a generic monster maker, but I don't know if you remember the show Milton the Monster. Yep. There was a monster on that. There was Hebe and Jeeby, and one of them was a monster that looked exactly like what was in the Mad Monster Maker. And also they reminded me of some of the stuff from HR Puffin stuff. So even as a 4-year-old, the power of media and television and advertising was already shaping me as a collector and what I liked. So I still do have that. The Play-Doh is long gone. I probably ate it and stuck it up my nose as soon as I got it. But it was a fun toy. And it is one of those formative things that I can't get rid of just because it is such a formative part of my history.
I like this one. Russell says some of those monsters look like Doctor Who Club of Victoria members. I was thinking, I'm not saying anything. So,
I can't say anything there either. So
yeah, very good, because all these names are just coming to my head right now. It's very, very cool.
Now, the other thing that absolutely blew my mind was the ABC did no advertising. It's funded by the people for the people, so they never sell stuff, except when they have stuff to hock off in the ABC shop back in the 80s. Now, I did have a video of this, but we were not showing it. After the 5 Doctors was shown on television in Australia, they had an advert for the Doctor Who 20th anniversary special magazine at ABC shops and good bookstores for $4.95. It was shown at the beginning or first couple of weeks of December. I have it on video. I still have the actual tape of the off-air recording that is on Betamax. So I still have that, and it was the 14th of the 12th, 83. And the ad was on that. And of course, when I saw that, I started looking for it everywhere. And I found it, as you can see, I put up there, in Eastlands, which is one of the eastern sort of Westfield places. It was Eastlands out at Ringwood. And my shop that I found it in there was Collins Bookshop, because the ABC shop, basically, there were crap and didn't have a lot of Doctor Who stuff at all. So I went in mid-December to get this magazine, and my parents would not buy it for me, and even worse, would not let me buy it with my own money, which was a surprising shock, to be sure. And I was not leaving the shop without that magazine. And I got the shock and realization that there was no Father Christmas, because my parents turned around to me and said, "Look, we've bought it for you for Christmas. Stop making a scene. You've got one. Don't worry." And that was the only way I was going out of the shop. But the thing was, that was such a good magazine. I got one that I destroyed literally by thumbing through, but I actually got 2 for Christmas. And I have one that I never opened and never read. So that would probably be the same, the very first sort of Doctor Who item I collected and kept for myself as a collectible and still have. And it's not a rare item. They probably sold 1 million of them. The Australian version is different from the overseas ones because you can't win a meeting with Doctor Who like the British version, and the Starlog one had for America had different prizes as well. We got 0 prizes. Inside, this will be nothing to anyone now, but it was an amazing, mind-blowing Technicolor magazine full of photos and pictures I have never seen before. In '83, there were basically none of the video range was out. There was repeats on the ABC, but it didn't go back before the colour period. So the opening page had all the opening title sequences on, and the first 2 Doctors opening titles I'd never seen before. It blew me away. The monsters I had read about in the Target books, but they have illustrations and paintings. This was chock full of pictures of just about every monster from Doctor Who and in colour. So Doctor Who magazine at the time had a colour cover, and then it was newsprint style print inside. If you're lucky, they might have had a pull-out poster sometimes. So this was a mind-blowing piece that had an episode guide in it, had comics in it, had stories, had a list of missing episodes. It had information on the series that hadn't even been shown in Australia yet, Series 21. And so it was almost like a little slice of the internet and spoilers in a magazine. So that's why, even though it's not rare, it's my longest held and one of my favourite items of Doctor Who merchandise.
Mark said, got his copy, but the TARDIS technical manual was his first bit of Who merchandise in the 80s, which is a very groovy. We discussed the technical manual not that long ago, actually, as being something that I think everybody had at one point, which is very cool.
So it's interesting Mark says that, because I had books going way back before that. Being the capitalist dog I am, I don't know if any of the books I have now, apart from one, are the original books that I had, because I would buy and sell and upgrade and get different editions and stuff like that. So as you can see there, I have the book from 1984, The Warriors of the Deep, but it actually has in the cover of it, "Happy birthday for your 11th birthday." So I know that is one of my originals. I try not to give away gifts. Sometimes if they're written in the front, you don't realize, but that is my definitely from the 80s Target paperback. So it's another one of the oldest things that I've held. And because I never throw anything else out, I didn't put pictures of stuff like this up, but I do have, like, "Happy birthday, Aron" from, 1983 and 82, like Australian Darth Vader and birthday cards. And I have one collectible to show everyone just because it's Christmas. That's pretty interesting and is older than me. My grandmother handed this down to me, and it's a Christmas card that she got at a fete. And, they used to have celebrities open fates. So I don't know if anyone can quickly identify who you think that autograph is. Some people might be able to read it and might know who it is. My grandmother was Betty, and someone quite famous opened a fate. Can you tell who that is, Dags?
No, I was trying to. No.
So this is actually a pre-James Bond Roger Moore. So
Jesus.
he was famous for the Saint.
Yep.
And he went and opened a fate as the Saint, and my grandmother was there and got an autograph. So that predates me, and that got handed down to me because I'm a collector. But that's pretty cool, isn't it? A James Bond Saint original Roger Moore autograph.
Or you could say she was persuaded, because he was in the Persuaders, or he was persuaded to sign it as well. So
Yes.
that is very cool, dude. That is very, very cool. Absolutely well done to you.
So thank you to everyone for listening to me rambling about collectibles. I hope everyone's enjoyed just listening to the origins of me being a collector and starting up a collectibles business.
Which, speaking of which, because we're now at the end of the show, if I can find the right button, what is the right button there, Mr. Aaron? And it would be this one. And even though we discussed it earlier, so be sure to get your furry ones down to the store on Saturday, especially the upstairs bit, as we mentioned earlier, which is going to be absolutely awesome. And Christmas is coming, so if anybody wants to buy us a Christmas gift or a late present for Aaron, you certainly can, because late presents are always accepted. Is that right, dude?
Exactly, unless they're out of their use-by dates. But I'll eat them anyway. I have some interesting stuff that has come in lately, like Jar Jar toothpaste that's from '99. That the cool of opening it and using it to see if it's still bubble mint, the flavor is maybe
It's got to
too
be.
strong.
It's got to be tongue coloured, doesn't it? Go, woo! So
Well, what you've got to do,
suddenly
you've got to break my tongue in half and go, oh, it does get in. So,
it does indeed. And of course, it is actually Christmas. And I was looking for a science fiction Christmas picture today, and this is from Galaxy magazine back in the 50s, I think it was. So because it is that time of the year, which is very, very cool. And it's also that time of the year where we're going to bugger off. And I'm not sure when we will be returning, but this is our 39th episode. So if you want, there are 39 straight hours you can have of just watching us back to back. Worse than any freaking June movies you'll ever come across. Mr. Aaron, what do you reckon?
that's like in Andor where they put that recording onto the girl's headphones to break her. It's
Yes.
us.
It's us talking. Yeah, it's not the kids screaming as they're dying. It's just us waffling on about stuff, as it were. Very, very cool. Is there anything that you want to mention before we sign off for the year, Mr. Aaron?
No, just anyone who's come into the shop for either to purchase stuff or support any of our special days, signings and sales and stuff like that. Thanks for supporting the shop. I do appreciate every one of you. Sometimes I'm too busy even to talk, so sorry about that, but I do like to try and catch up with everyone a little bit, especially people who've come a long way, which has happened. I just hope everyone has a happy and safe Christmas and you get the DVD, Blu-ray, 4K box set that you want from Santa.
But just don't open it because it's going to be an ultra rare collectible in years to come. So there you go. Or if it's the version that you don't want, just turn into a coffee coaster, which is very, very cool. Anyway, we're going to buzz off. Not sure when we'll be back, but it's been a lot of fun. Shits and giggles talking about stuff. We'll probably get banned after this from some of the contentious stuff we mentioned earlier, but it's all fun and games. And with that in mind, just quickly, Greasy said, yeah, no worries, all good, all groovy. Make sure you party hard, rock on, and we will see you somewhere down the track, maybe even on Saturday if you can make it to the store. All right, guys, party hard, as I said, and we'll catch you then. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.